You're listening to the Live Out Loud podcast with River Wynn and Michelle Flamer.
Hi, River.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, River. Our pre-chat, we're like, push record, push record.
I was like, we got to stop this chat, stop this pre-chat, because this all needs to be on the podcast.
That's right. We just got to fucking lay this shit out. Like, let's get real today.
Real.
Real. It's a good day to get real. No, it actually is.
I mean, yes, it is. But
it is. So I love this topic. At first I was kind of like, oh, okay. And then as we started chatting and we started to do a little bit more around it, I really, really like it. So the topic today is what we used to believe about love and then what we believe now through our healing circumstances, therapy, creating just our life at this point.
Yeah, kind of like the myths that we had about love, and then how we've reframed them, how we've shifted them. And you know what got me thinking about that is astrology, because Venus is going retrograde, and Venus going retrograde is all about like unpacking beliefs around relationships.
Yeah.
And that really just started me thinking about the things that I used to do in love and the things I used to accept in love. And it made me evaluate where I'm at now versus where I was before I got divorced. Yeah. And even in dating after divorce, the first year versus now. And I'm just like, wow, a lot has changed. A lot has. I thought it'd be cool just to like talk about that.
I mean, a lot has changed in the physicality of your life, but you're saying a lot has really changed in losing and dropping those old beliefs and seeing love from a completely different, your favorite word, lens. Lens. She's giving me the eye goggles, guys, the little hand goggles. That's so cute. You're so cute. Okay, I really like this. Where do you want to start?
I think we should just go through, because like I made a list, right? Okay, I made a list of what I used to believe versus what I believe now. And you did too.
I did too.
So should we just go through them?
Yeah. Well, so do we do them side by side, or do we talk first about what we used to believe and then let's go back and do what we believe now? So let's do it separate. Like, so, and ours are so uniquely different, which I thought was really cool, just based on, I'm 56, was married, for 18 years. We've been divorced the same. I have a 13-year-old. I'm just at a different page on my book, in my book. And then
chapter on your journey. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're 36. I don't know if a lot of people know your age. You're an old soul, but
I'll be 37 in April.
420, baby.
420, baby, even though I don't 420.
No, you don't, but yeah, it's hilarious that you're born on 420.
Also, it was also my wedding date, 420. I got married on my birthday. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, don't do that.
Okay. Have I told you this? I know this. Sorry, this is a side quest. Have I told you the story of why I got married on my birthday?
You know what? I think I've heard it before, but go for it. I think
it's short. It's short. Yeah. I'm just going to share it to Pod Squad since it came up. Side quest ADHD, checking in.
Hello.
So when I was in my mid-20s, I started going to the Buddhist meetings that I go to, and the lady who hosts them is an older Korean woman. And at one of the meetings, we were just hanging out, having some Korean food, and somebody mentioned that she's a palm reader, that she's always known how to read palms. And she was like, yeah, let me read yours. And so I gave her my palm, and she read my palm. And she said that I have like two big loves on my hand, and that if I got married before I was 30, it was going to be a really terrible marriage, and that it would end badly, and it was just going to take everything out of me. But then I would still, like, afterwards still have that next love. But if I didn't get married before 30, I would skip that first bad love and then just go straight on to the like big good love.
Yeah.
And so then I met the person that I married.
Yep. And he's a real peach.
He's a real peach, peachy peach. And he proposed to me the year before I turned 30. And I remembered the palm reading.
Oh my God. Okay.
So I said, oh, you know what? I'm going to be clever about this. We're going to get married after I turn 30. So I planned our wedding date for the following September after I turned 30. Then the universe was like, nice try, and found out I was pregnant and our son was due the week of our wedding date. So then we had to make an adjustment.
No, your son, you mean your daughter?
No, my son.
Oh,
We
okay.
weren't, yeah, we didn't get married until my youngest was born.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
So we were
Okay.
together for 8 years, but we were only married for 2 years, 2.5 years. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I was like, well, I need to get married after I turn 30.
Oh my
So,
Lord.
and he was like, well, I didn't tell him this. He didn't know any of this, right?
Yeah.
This was my head. And he was like,
Yeah.
well, let's get married on 4/20 because that's his favorite day because he's a stoner.
Yep.
And I was like, ooh, I could get married on my birthday and then I'll be 30 and I'll have defeated the palm reading. Because I at the time thought that I was born at 9:20 in the morning. So we got married in the evening. Okay. So in my mind, I was 30. Well, about a year ago, I discovered my birth certificate and discovered that I was born at 9:20 in the evening.
Oh my God.
So I wasn't technically 30.
And look what happened. Shortest marriage almost ever. I mean, not quite. There's been lots of other shorter ones, but
So long side quest here,
wait,
but
I
moral of
thought
the
that
story
you
is if
got,
someone reads your palm, take them seriously.
I thought you had a shotgun wedding back then. I didn't realize that you had had you had had Ivy and like done life with him a little bit before,
This is like I need to
like
do
I
like an
wish I would have
actual
been there. I'd
episode.
been like,
Yeah,
nin.
I need to do an actual episode on our whole story because it's yeah. But in brief, in brief, we dated for about 6, 7 months before I found out I was pregnant with Ivy. And actually, around the time that the same day I found out I was pregnant with Ivy, I found out he was cheating on me. And I should have probably left then, but I was like in college, hadn't planned. I was on birth control, like, and so um, it was.
He was ready to come through. That little soul
Yeah,
was
Ivy
ready.
Ivy chose me because I also have PCOS and being on birth control. There's no way I should have gotten pregnant. It's
That's
just there's no way.
yeah. And she's
But anyway,
funny.
so we stayed together, had Ivy, and then found out I was pregnant with Tobin. They're 3 years apart, so they found out I was pregnant with Tobin the same week I was planning on leaving him. Stayed, and then he proposed. We got married. We were married for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So
It was a big side quest, but it relates to the topic because what we accept in love and what we used to believe about love very much relates to this topic. And that relationship was like a huge karmic thing for me
sure.
in having to unpack what I believe around love.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
All right. So let's read our list of what, and we can unpack each of what we used to believe a little bit. So you go first.
Okay.
Or
So
we can go one and one and one and one.
yeah, let's go 1 and 1. Let's do that.
Okay, cool. Let's
So,
do reciprocity.
Yeah. Equality.
Yes.
I love you.
I'm waving my flag. Equality.
So what I used to believe. So I used to believe that love should be self-sacrificing. Being a good partner meant putting their needs before mine.
Woo, codependent 101.
Yeah. And I learned that in childhood because I had a narcissistic mother and that was my entire childhood experience. So of course it came up in love relationships for me. I was a caretaker of people as the eldest daughter to a narcissist mother.
Why wouldn't you
Why
bend over
wouldn't
backwards? Like
Yeah.
that's what you learn. Like I'll
I
bend over
never put
backwards.
myself
That must be
first.
love. Like
Yeah.
I must basically, give over my newborn for this love.
Yeah. My
Which you
body,
kind of did.
my everything, my life. I mean, when my daughter was born, I was in my junior year of college and I tried to do senior year of college with a baby and I couldn't do it. I even took her to class with me every day and my other students were holding her and the professors were holding her. She grew up. Her first probably like 6 months of life were on a university campus and I had to quit college because I couldn't do it. It wasn't sustainable and I didn't have the support I needed. So
Yeah.
I literally sacrificed everything for my relationship.
Oof. Okay, well, we're not going to go into what we believe now after this. So
Yeah.
my first on my list was love should feel like an intense, immediate connection.
The spark.
Well, yeah, but more like I don't know, maybe in my 20s, but now it has to feel like a soul connection. It has to feel like because I don't get butterflies. Like it's not
But we're
about
talking about past. We're talking about past. That was a
that's
past
true.
belief.
That's
Yeah.
that's true. Our past
That
belief. So
it should be intense, which is the
yeah,
belief of
you're
the
right.
spark.
It was the spark. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
We're going back. You're right. If it wasn't strong and immediate and I didn't feel that spark, then it's like, nah, this must not be it.
Yeah. Well, and we're taught that socially, right? Like everything that we consume, especially in film and stories, just our cultural narrative is that the one, the myth of the one, and that it's gotta feel incredibly intense. Otherwise, it's not real.
Well, what's interesting is you said Venus, and my Venus is in Pisces, and I was reading all about it, and Chrissy and I were downloading it a little bit, and she's like, "Holy crap, you really are a hallmark." Like that's kind of
Yeah.
like why you
Pisces,
want
yeah.
that sort of big, effervescent kind of love, but
Mm.
but the way that I saw it before was because, like you said, we see butterflies. We like everybody used to talk about, oh my God, you have butterflies, and like, oh my God, just like all that,
And we know now, right, that the butterfly feeling is your nervous system warning you.
that's it. So what's your second one on your list?
Love is earned through hard work. I had to prove my worth, fix problems, or endure hardship to be deserving of love. Love
Mm.
doesn't come easy. You have to work for it. Which
Mm-hmm.
tracks because in my childhood, in order to get love and attention from my mother, I had to work for it.
Yeah, you're putting on a big old fucking show to like get that love from her. You're like, "Hi, I'm over here."
People pleaser, like
Oh
if
yeah.
you could win, an Olympic
I
medal for
feel
people
that.
pleasing, that would have been me.
Mhm.
Yep.
So mine, what I used to believe is if someone says they loved me, that should be enough.
Ooh.
I know, like, but
Ooh.
I know, and of course I want to naturally go into what, but no, it's like words carried a lot of weight for me. And when I think about back in the day, like even with Carrie, I mean, I'd never heard anybody speak to me that way before.
Mm.
No wonder I was like, it was kind of intoxicating in a way. When someone meets you in a new space, you think, this is what it should feel. This must be what it feels
Mhm.
like. All right, what's your
Yeah.
next one?
Wow. My next one is similar to your first one, but it's passion equals love.
Mm,
Intensity, highs and lows, or longing meant real love.
wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Again, that spark. Yep.
the spark. Well, God, we need to be able to teach our kids to understand, and we have our kids are at ages where we have to teach them that it's the spark is not the jive, it's not the jam, it's not where you want to be. So we have to, as moms, as parents, we have to really do a better job for both genders. I think it's really important because
Yeah. Anybody,
Mhm.
anybody really. And yes, I think there's a distinction between attraction and the spark, right?
Right.
But when I think about passion,
Chemistry.
yeah, chemistry. But when I think about that phrase, passion equals love, I think about like, I mean, I had a college roommate who very much was the same way. Like her relationship was intense highs where they like intense highs where they just couldn't keep their hands off each other. And then like intense lows where they'd be parked on the side of the freeway screaming at each other. And I just remember thinking like, that is not healthy, but I wasn't doing the same actions, but like there was intense emotional highs and lows in all of my relationships where it was like me intensely connected, attached to them, and then having very much the avoidance and the anxious cycle
dynamic
happening, you know, where it was like intense highs and lows of anxiety around how they feel and interpreting their feelings and all the things. And yeah, no, passion does not equal love. But I believe that.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about that, but I'll keep going on this list because it's more about what I'm trying to like, it's
Yeah, I
hard to
know.
not think, it's hard because I haven't thought these ways in so long. And so it's really a mind fuck for me right now, honestly.
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
'Cause
That's why I like this topic because I was like, ooh, this is gonna be really good.
Yeah, it is really good. I'm glad you brought it. So, um, I need to be the strong one who holds space for others.
Ooh,
So my role to provide stability, even if it drained me, even if
icky,
it just, yeah,
icky.
yeah.
Constantly
And
pouring out
that's
to other
with
people
any,
but not receiving. No.
and that's with anyone. That's
Yeah.
not even on a romantic level by any means.
Yeah.
That is just like, that was truly what I thought, like, oh, I need to be like, if I can be the strong one, then we can get through anything. Well, hello.
I'm curious. Maybe I'm off track here, but I'm curious if that's like a common theme amongst lesbian women who identify as more masc. Would you say that that's like a common theme, or is that just like a person to person thing?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if like we take on like even if I'm a softer mask, I'm not like full on
Yeah.
butch, stone
Right.
butch, where sometimes that happens. I toe the line emotionally more, but
I'm just curious if that
um,
dynamic is at play at all.
I think that is a me thing. I think it was more of a me. It was probably more around the codependency and like if I can hold space. I mean, draining myself was never a good thing. Like, hello.
No,
Yeah.
it's depleting. You're not able to set boundaries, you
Yeah,
know?
that's
Yeah.
people pleasing and codependency for sure. So I think it's just a woman thing. I think we just feel like that's how we need to be able to show up. And
Yeah.
depending upon our childhood, as you know, like those are the markers for it could be 10, 20 different things, within that. So, okay,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
your next one?
Stability meant settling. Safe and predictable felt boring. Love had to be dramatic or challenging to be meaningful.
Woo, I got the chills on that one
Yeah,
because
and I recently talked on my Instagram stories about the concept of dating boring people.
uh-huh.
Um, and how, well, this is kind of going to the what I believe now a little bit, but like in the past, I met a lot of really wonderful people, but I thought that they were boring. Like they that passion
Well, they
that I
weren't
mentioned before
sparking
wasn't
you.
there.
They weren't sparking you.
Exactly. They were actually soothing to my nervous system,
A slow
and
burn.
that felt uncomfortable.
Yeah. Because you're not used to it. That didn't feel
Right.
like home. That
And so
was
I would label
not
them
familial.
boring. Like for example, like there were a couple of guys in college that I worked with in our tutoring center, and we had a lot of classes together, and they were highly intellectual, well-read, very stable, very great friends, very just like dependable people. And two of them were interested in dating me, and I would spend a lot of time with them, but I couldn't even like go there in my mind of like potential romantic partners. And I was straightforward with them about that. Like, I'm not interested in you. We're just friends. And I totally friend zoned them. And I look back at the time and I'm like, I actually was attracted to them, but I completely pushed it to the side because I was like, they're boring.
I mean,
they
you don't
don't
know
they
what you
don't
don't.
look like what I think my partner should look and feel like.
Yeah. Then.
then.
Yeah, totally,
Because
totally.
now who I am now, I'm like, oh, I wish I go back in time and like, redo that. But
Oh my God, you're so cute. Um, so for me, setting boundaries will push people away.
ooh,
So saying no or enforcing limits felt like I was being too much.
oh, I feel like I can say that collectively, anyone listening to this who's female probably just went like, oh, knife to the
Mhm.
heart. That's me.
I mean, I don't know where I learned that, but it is something that
That is a social thing, I'm going to say.
I
I
think
think
so
that we
too.
learn remnants of that in our family lives too, but I think that that is a social conditioning thing for women.
Right. And we're not going into what we believe today. So I'm
Yeah.
going to stay in this pocket right here of just
Yeah.
being like, yeah, I was always scared to set the boundary around not knowing. So the unknown of what was on the other side of me setting that boundary. And because it would always kind of go one way or the other. It's like, okay, the person would hold it. Cool. Thank you. Maybe I don't even know if I even practice setting boundaries until literally after the divorce.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
Okay.
Yeah, I resonate
So,
with that a lot
yeah,
too.
what's your next?
My next one is compromise meant losing myself. That's similar to boundaries. Relationships required shrinking or softening parts of myself to keep the peace.
I
Yeah,
mean, all of this is codependency.
I was a peacekeeper as a
Yeah.
child. I had
Hmm.
to. I had to be the grounded, steady, calm, less emotional, not too much person in my family. I had to keep the peace, which meant shrinking myself in really big ways.
I wish I could hug Little River right now.
Oh, I've been hugging Little River a lot in therapy. So is my therapist.
I know. I'm so glad for that. Um, okay, this is a fucking big one. Like I might cry saying this. Like this actually hits me hard. Walking away is a failure.
Oh, oh man. Yeah.
Leaving a relationship felt like me giving up or I didn't try hard enough.
Mm,
I mean, I think that's why I stayed 18 years.
that's such a generator wound too.
That is
Human
such, it
design,
is,
like it is. That is a generator wound. Yep.
I mean, yeah, I have a hard time doing that.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is that now and then, like Chrissy or Sam or somebody will just ask me, like, how is it that you guys were so out of sync in your so everything with Carrie, it's like, how did you even stay? And I think it was really also being raised by boomers and
Mm-hmm.
being really close to my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
They're post-war, they weren't boomers, they were post-war, that was their generation. And
Yep.
they fucking stayed. I don't know if it's a Jewish thing, because I think Sam and I were talking about it being comes up as a Jewish thing, maybe also a little bit of that. And you just don't leave. You do everything you fucking can. And I was that way with friendships and relationships. Obviously, I haven't had a ton of relationships, but these very significant one, is like, wow, that one hit me again. Just like,
Yeah, I think that that might be a I like that you said a Jewish thing. Like that's probably a common thing in that experience, but also I think a generational thing because you know, you're just a little bit younger than my dad, realistically
yeah.
than my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people in my parents' generation stuck around, especially in relationships, far longer than they should because of that mindset of failure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I've run into in my divorce. I never felt this fear of being a failure. I felt more of a fear of failing as a mother if I didn't do something better for my kids. And so it was a different fear of failure, but like walking away didn't make me feel like I was failing. And I hear that a lot from other people who are in their 30s. Like they weren't worried about being a failure. in that sense.
I
But like
could, I could,
my
I could,
parents, like
yeah,
they were married for 25 years and they should have gotten divorced when I was young. They should have.
yeah.
They shouldn't even had kids, honestly. They shouldn't have been married that long. And
Mhm.
that's something my dad has said is like, I just didn't want to be a failure.
I think also it's like I saw my dad walk away kind of from my mom, and so the divorce part, but also just Carrie and I did split up for a period of time in 2018, I want to say. We had like 4 or 5 months. And when she moved out to move into an apartment, and that first weekend that my child was gone from me, like I knew I dropped her off at school and I wasn't going to get to see her after school. Like
Hmm.
this was the first, and I remember just just curled up in bed, fetal position, crying so hard because I was so emotional because all I kept saying, my mantra in my brain was, I didn't sign up to be a part-time mom.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that failure piece. That's obviously part of that. So anyways, that's crazy.
Oof, that's a big one.
I know. And
Yeah.
did you have one more? Because I have one more.
I have three more.
Oh, okay, cool.
Love should feel like home, even if home was dysfunctional.
Woo!
Familiarity meant compatibility.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, I mean, it tracks so much. Like every single, I mean, my childhood was traumatic and chaotic. My family, I grew up in a cult. I was kicked out at age 16. Like I had a narcissistic mother who was abusive, and I witnessed so much trauma and abuse that home was dysfunctional.
Yeah.
And but they were telling me that they loved me, so love felt dysfunctional. And
Mm,
so, no surprise that after being kicked out, I went right into a an abusive relationship with a man who was
yeah.
physically abusive and also a narcissist and a psychopath. Like I
It
had to
felt
get restraining orders
familiar.
on him. He brought a gun to my house one time, like psychotic. But I had a hard time leaving him because it was familiar and it felt
That
like love.
chaos, that
He said
chaos.
he loved me, so I shouldn't leave, you
Yeah.
know?
And it felt,
Uh,
and it was the way the chaos and the way that the trauma shows up, and you were just
yeah,
like, oh, this must be okay because it
yeah.
feels like home.
And then I get into a relationship with someone for 8 years and end up marrying them and having kids with them. And this person was awful to me. This person
So
was
with
also a
so with the
narcissist.
way you would reframe like feeling like home, and maybe I'll wait for this and we'll get through these first, and then we can talk about, because that kind of goes into the belief now a little bit. So my
Yeah.
last one is love shouldn't require effort.
Mm,
Because I think if it was meant to be, it should flow naturally. Like I just thought, oh, it should just flow naturally. And I, I don't fully believe that. Like I don't mind effort. It should require some effort, obviously, but that'll
that
go
kind of
into,
goes hand in hand with the one concept, the
yeah.
spark, the one that when
Hmm.
you meet this person, everything's going to be passionate and pure chemistry and everything's going to flow and it's just going to be easy.
Yeah.
Just not accurate.
Rose-colored glasses,
Yeah. Yeah.
Hallmark movie.
Hallmark, Pisces.
I'll know it in 84 minutes because that's how long every Hallmark movie is, right?
I
And
saw a funny Instagram reel yesterday by this couple who kind of like makes fun of Hallmark movies, and
yeah,
they look like Hallmark characters, like
that's cute.
absolutely. But they was like the Hallmark couple goes to therapy, and the
Oh my God,
therapist
I
is like,
love that.
"Oh, I'll just send it to you.
Well,
Let's see if I
yeah,
can
you
find it."
have to. I'm surprised you didn't send it to me.
I know. Yeah, it was so funny. I laughed so hard, but yeah. So my next one is being chosen is the goal. Love was something to be won rather than mutual and aligned.
Ooh, I feel that.
Yeah.
That's a
I
good one.
I
Being
have
chosen.
always chased after people. Always. That anxious attachment. Like I was a chaser and I didn't care if they weren't aligned with me. And I wasn't taking the time to figure out if they were aligned with me. It was just like I need them to choose me. Doesn't matter that they treat me like shit. Doesn't matter that I see the red flags. I just need them to choose me. I need to be chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really excited to go through what we believe now. I'm like,
Well, my last one. Here's my last
yeah,
one.
yeah, totally. Knock it
The
out.
last one is love meant overcoming red flags. Deep love could fix emotional unavailability or incompatibility.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, nope.
Nope.
We know the truth. We know the truth to those. All right, so now go to, yeah, so start from the top now. So, and I think you can reread what it was like, and then what you
Yeah.
believe now. We'll talk about that.
Okay, so the old belief, love should be self-sacrificing.
Yeah.
What I believe now is love should feel safe, not sacrificial. A healthy relationship supports both people, not just one.
Oh, you mean it's reciprocal.
Yeah, reciprocity.
Reciprocity. I like that. That's a good one. So my first one was that love should feel like an intense immediate connection. But what I believe now is love should feel safe and consistent.
Mm,
So a deep, nurturing love is about emotional safety, not that unpredictability. I do really poorly these days in that gray, inconsistent space. I need someone to show up and be consistent because I already know,
clarity. Show up with clarity.
show up
Yeah.
with that, but beyond that, show up and like I'm a safe space because I show up consistently.
Yes. Yeah.
But when the gray shit happens, peace out. Like that fucking fucks me up.
Not hanging around.
I really, I turn into like an almost an avoidant at that space. Like
Yeah.
it really, like I don't even get anxious anymore. I'm just like, oh,
Peace.
dip out, bitch. Mic drop. Michelle out. Okay, yeah. So go with your next one.
Love is earned through hard work. And what I believe now is I don't have to earn love. Love should be
Nope.
freely given to me as I am, not something I have to work for.
So true because you today, River, and I've always been, but today you are enough as
Mhm.
you are. The imperfection, multidimensional, beautiful soul that you are is 100% enough.
Yes. And I believe that like to a core level.
I know you do. And I'm really glad that you do because that's beautiful on you. That, like, that,
Well, and my friendships, like our
yep.
friendships and
Oh,
my inner circle, like you are the ones who have taught me that, by being my circle consistently, no
mhm.
matter what. Like you love me
Yeah,
at my highs and my lows, that
100.
and that's what romantic relationships should mirror. And that's what parental relationships should be like. That's how I show up as a parent with my
I
kids.
know
So
you
like
do because you
the
didn't
act
get
of
that.
mothering for me has also reparented me. The way I show up for my kids in that is what I needed as a child.
Damn right you do. I mean, you do. And that's such a beautiful thing that your children can mirror, those pieces for you to heal as well as to model, right? Going
Yeah.
forward. So I love that.
Yeah.
Um, if someone says they love you, that should be enough. And then what I believe now is love is shown through actions, not just words. For me, consistency, respect, and follow through matter more than the verbal affirmations.
Yeah. Yeah. Actions speak louder than words.
God, I do need that. It's
Hmm.
really important for me. Okay, so your turn.
Passion equals love
Mm,
was the myth, the old belief. And now my belief is passion without peace is not love. True
mhm.
love feels steady, emotionally secure, and nourishing.
I like that.
Yeah.
Um, Mine is I need to be the strong one who holds space for others. That was
Mm,
the I used to believe. And now I really deserve someone who can hold space for me too. And
mm,
love should be reciprocal, not just me carrying the emotional load. And
yeah.
let me tell you that
Reciprocity.
That's a big fucking lesson that I needed to learn
Yeah.
about myself.
Yeah. And I think some of these things we're talking about are lessons that would have to be learned in the process of dating.
I know. No, it is. It's how people
Like
have
most
to,
of these lessons came about from me dating after divorce,
it's true.
and processing and healing my marriage and divorce,
For sure, for sure. And it honestly comes from self-love and self-worth. Like all of our, what I believe now is all surrounded around how I feel in my, am I embodied? Am I connected to me? Am I grounded? Do I feel soft and nurturing? How am I showing up for myself? And it's 11:11 on the,
Ooh.
I know, I love that. All right, go for it.
Next one. Stability meant settling was the old belief. And now my belief is stability is sexy. Real love feels safe, seen, and understood, not like an emotional roller coaster.
Hell yeah, that's sexy.
Yeah. Give me some boring. Boring is hot.
Yeah, totally. Give me some boring. That's hilarious. Give me calm.
Yep.
And I mean, yeah. So setting boundaries will push people away. And what I believe now is boundaries actually protect my peace and attract the
Mhm.
right people. Right?
Yep.
That's a little snappy. The right people will respect my limits and not challenge them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was a hard one to learn, but it's so good. So
It
good.
is it is a good one to learn. It
Yep.
has been really good for me.
My old belief was compromise meant losing myself. And the new belief is I can be fully myself and loved for it. The right love celebrates me as I am.
Yeah, no judgments. I mean, I
Yep.
think that's why we flourish within these friendships that you're talking about, like our core
Yep.
people, because they just love us no matter what. And we get to practice with one another around showcasing, our feelings and deep emotions and processing through pain,
Yeah.
together.
100%.
So what I used to believe about walking away as a failure, I understand now walking away is an act of self-love. Choosing
Mm.
myself isn't failure, it's making space for what I truly deserve and want.
Mm. I think that's your biggest one, honestly.
I do too.
I think
It's
it is.
really, well, yeah, I mean yeah, I can't stay in anything that doesn't lift me up anymore. I need a soft landing too. I'm happy to give anybody a soft landing over, as they earn it through discernment, which is another lesson. But man, I want the same.
Yeah. Oh, I love that for you.
Mm.
The next one was the old belief was love should feel like home, even if home was dysfunctional.
God,
And
that to me is your big one.
it is. It's the deepest lesson for me.
I think so too.
And the new belief is love should be expansive, not restrictive. The right
Oh, I
relationship.
got chills from that.
Yeah, the
Just
right
the
relationship.
expansive.
Yeah, the expansive part, right? They should help us grow,
Yeah, they
and
should be an
create some
additive.
space. Yeah.
Samantha
Uh,
doesn't like when I say add value. She's like, I have a hard time with that term, add value. She's like, people who come into our life, or especially in a romantic capacity, they should be an additive to our life. And I'm like, we're saying the same thing. It's
it's the
just,
same thing. It's
yeah.
the same thing.
I just want to say it out loud to
Potatoes,
people
potatoes.
because, yeah, you never know what someone resonates more with. For me, it's
Yeah,
adding value. I don't know. They have to add value because I already have a really value forward life. Like I feel
yeah,
really good in my life.
yeah, yeah. What's your next one?
Love shouldn't require effort, but
Mm,
I love what I believe now because love requires intention. We just had our
nice.
podcast on intentionality, but
Yeah.
but it shouldn't be draining.
Mm-hmm.
So love takes work, heck yeah, but it shouldn't feel like I'm chasing scraps of
Mm-hmm.
affection.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to chase any of that. I want someone to love me for all of me and like,
We don't chase, we attract, right? That's the motto. Like we attract and
yeah,
then we put in the
I'm
the
imperfect. It's okay.
reciprocity to keep it going.
Yeah, I'm not claiming to be perfect. I'm not claiming to, not want to do any of the work. I'm happy to do the work. I just want to feel like there's peace within the work. Even if it's hard conversations and crying, I just want to feel like this person's not judging me on the other side and they're like genuinely into it.
Yeah, love it.
Mm-hmm.
So my last two, so let's see, being chosen is the goal was the old belief. And then the new belief is I am the chooser too. I no longer wait to be chosen. I choose who is worthy of my time, energy, and heart.
Ooh, I love that for you.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good one. I'm gonna take that one too. I like that.
That's a really good one. And then the last one was love meant overcoming red flags. And the new belief is red flags are not challenges, they are warnings. I trust what I see and walk away when needed.
Mm-hmm.
That goes back to that, actions speak loudly.
Yeah, actions speak loudly.
Yeah.
And I love this because this could be what you could do this for work. Like, hey, why am I not feeling in my body when I'm at work? Like when I'm talking to certain people, even if I'm remote, or like how I show up, how people showing up for me at the office. It can be that. It can be within your mom circle. It doesn't have to be on these deeper levels. It can just be like just paying attention to how you feel around people and and recognizing that we're all evolving and growing and showing up in different ways throughout, I'm not the same person obviously that I was 3 years ago, and I'm well aware, and this is definitely a beautiful like magnifying glass to say, wow, look at the growth. Like it's such a cool thing. So
Yeah.
I highly suggest anybody to put themselves through this today, like a little homework exercise and really
Yep.
looking at those. And hey, we always say like you can throw that shit into Chat GPT, AI,
Yep.
let it get to know you, and it'll really spit out some wisdom for you that
Yeah, I
that
think that,
resonates.
if you're, especially if you're someone who's single and been single for a while, like just sit down and reevaluate, like what were your old beliefs and how have they changed?
Dude, I was just thinking like we're gonna be single almost 3 years.
I have been single 3 years.
Yeah, you have, because it was November, right?
Yeah, so November 2021. So it's been over 3 years for me. And then yesterday I realized that in April I will have been completely celibate and not dated for 2 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, but think of all that energetic stuff that like you're like starting from scratch in a sense. Like whoever you end up dating next or get into a relationship next is really getting like this beautiful clean slate.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, whatever a clean slate looks
Well,
like,
like
right?
it's just a different version of me than
Yeah,
it was.
it's a different version, and it doesn't have a lot of this, like toxic energy or
I'm a version of myself that's better equipped to show up for what it is that I really desire.
yeah, that's how I
I
feel.
wasn't I wasn't 2 years ago.
No, no way. I wasn't a year ago. Let's just say 2 years ago. Oh my God. That's just crazy. But okay, I really love this topic. I ended up really enjoying it. So thank you for pushing me out of the comfort zone a little bit. And I value and really appreciate you about that.
I love you.
I love you too, my little Taurus. Okay, thanks Pod Squad. We hope you we hope you really enjoyed this episode, and I hope you can take away some of these things and maybe push yourself to do this exercise.
Yeah. And then tell us about it if you want
Yeah,
to.
tell us about it if you want to share. We're here for that. All right, love you, friend.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode today, be sure to subscribe and share because what do we say, baby?
Sharing is caring.